Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad. I meant to do this in the video that you're about to watch, where my good friends John the Music Nut and Ben Carson uh, talk about Crown Jewel, and I meant to do a quick a memorial during the video. Um, the fella to the right of the picture, Larry Wright, as I was watching Crown Jewel, was being laid to rest. Larry was a wonderful friend of mine. There in the center is another friend of ours named Jim. Um, Larry was a wonderful friend of mine. We watched many a wrestling show together. We were into comic books. There was a lot of things we were into, but we were both we were just great friends. And this picture actually is the last time I saw Larry, and that was back in 2009. But anyway, um, rest in peace, Larry. I wanted to dedicate this show to you, and just thank you for all of the memories that we had together, and look forward to seeing you again one day. Godspeed. Welcome. We all bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner. But today, we ain't going to be talking about music. No, no, sir. We're going to be talking a little bit about some wrestling today. We're going to, me with my Bruiser Brody shirt on that my wrestling buddy got for me. We're going to talk a little bit about WWE's Crown Jewel event that just took place on November 4th. So, with me, of course, is my faithful co-captain of the Wasp Wednesday and the Armored Saints shows and the 5 Count, John the Music Nut. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Oh man! And then from the other corner of Alabama, from the North and South Rock and Metal connection, you missed those guys. Ben Carson, how you doing, my brother? With his Cody Rhodes shirt on.
Nice.
Feeling awesome, bro. It's great to see you guys and be back on the old YouTube again.
Yes, yeah, it's been a little while. We got to get the band back together.
Yeah, we do.
But so today, yeah, we're going to talk about that Saudi event known as Crown Jewel. So, we have 8 matches altogether, if you count the one in the pre-show, which, of course, if you're let's just start with the pre-show thing. Okay, what a story for Sami Zayn when you really stop to think about it. I mean, what a journey he's had. They wouldn't even allow him in Saudi Arabia because of his heritage, his Syrian heritage, and so now, the Saudi government allows him in, and he is like welcomed in Saudi Arabia. Like, you would think he was like, the coming of Christ or something. He has just been welcomed with open arms, and it's just been, for Sami, it's an absolutely beautiful story to see. I really feel happy for him in that respect. So I'm kind of glad that they did the kickoff show and they started it off with him, of course, coming out in the Muslim garb, taking on JD McDonough. The crowd's hot for Sami, obviously, so they're going nuts about Sami. Didn't realize, I hadn't been following a lot of stuff as closely, so I didn't realize this was a rubber match. So they were tied at 1-1. I know, Ben, but you mentioned off air you didn't get to see this one. So, John, what did you think about? Any thoughts about this match?
Oh, I'm like you, John. I didn't even know who JD McDonough was until now. I haven't been following very closely, but I mean, it was good. The crowd was all into Sami. I noticed they were a little sloppy at first, but then they picked it up and it got really good. Hot crowd to start out. It was a good warm up to get the crowd into it before the match started. I mean, it was decent enough.
So there's a couple spots I want to mention in this thing. Let's see. The monkey flip botch by McDonough.
Yeah, that's where I was specifically going on that.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that didn't look good. But then he kind of redeems himself with that kangaroo drop kick spot. Ooh, that was pretty good. And then I loved how they ended the match, which I know for all those who watch like What Culture Wrestling, Simon Miller was probably convulsing. You know, Simon Miller is the guy who does the ups and downs, and he always does these. And so when I saw the ending to that match, I can just see Simon Miller was probably like on the floor, and he was like spit coming out of his mouth, and he's like going into an epileptic seizure, because the most devastating move in all professional wrestling, the Blue Thunder Bomb, won the match.
Won the match
After a haluva kick, mind you, but a Blue Thunder Bomb got the 1, 2, 3. Jesus must be coming back soon if that happens. I don't know. Anyway, solid start. I thought, again, you get the crowd hot because everybody just loves Sammy, and that's a great story.
That's something that's beautiful right there, because I noticed at the last Saudi show last year, the Crown, I guess it was the Crown Jewel last year, when Sammy first made his appearance, was not even political tolerances can handle the power of a wrestler being over. It sounds like something Arn Anderson would say on his podcast today. Was not even political tolerances can handle the power of a wrestler being over. Yep. The fans wanted him. He would dictate how many tickets they sold to the show. You got to get him no matter what.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing.
And then they did that journey with him, where he goes to all these different, Muslim holy places and things like that. For him, I'm sure for him, that was probably more meaningful than just, than the show itself, obviously. But I think everything it ties together.
Yeah. When he gave his introduction at the last house show in the native language, in Saudi or Arabic or whatever language that was. I don't know. I'm from Alabama. Forgive me. No offense to anybody. I know one language and it's really slow. But that was beautiful to me to watch him, because he was nearly in tears. And I know like Bailey, it showed a backstage clip of Bailey backstage crying her eyes out for Sammy. And it's very beautiful to watch Sammy's, journey through Saudi Arabia.
And then of course last year you had, of course Kevin Owens is with him. Yeah, Kevin and Sammy are like brothers,
closer than brothers.
Pretty much. So for Kevin to see all that, for Sammy, I'm sure that had to be extremely meaningful for him as well. So so there you go. So that was the kickoff. So good kickoff match. So now we get into the main show. So now we start off with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. And Drew McIntyre seems to be just on this, I am supposed to have the title, and it was supposed to be in front of all of these thousands of people. And then the pandemic hit. And then I get to celebrate it with nobody. It's a terrible Scottish accent. I apologize, Drew. I love you, brother. We met both. Ben and I both met him at the DDPY Performance Center once, so that was very, very cool. So anyway,
cool.
So John, what do we think? What do you think about this one?
Very good opener. Told a good story. Normally you don't really have a big guy in an opener. You're gonna have two smaller guys that could go do some crazy spots, get the crowd into it, but Drew's been over with the fans for a long time. He's always been really good. It was a good story. Seth was really selling the back a lot in the match, which I really liked. Drew got in his big moves that he usually does. I like the ending of it. And although I liked how they led into the ending, I thought the pedigree was a little sloppy. And the stomp at the end too. The stomp before that, it looked good. The stomp at the end of the match, I thought was a little sloppy, but it made you feel like, okay, more of it was that the fact that Drew was, he was out of gas. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But all Seth's such a great worker. I mean, all of his matches are really solid. I think this was good to get the crowd into it. They're
Mhm.
singing that song now. I mean, they'll be singing that song forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've been to 3 live events where Seth Rollins is there, and you think it's loud on TV. In an arena, it'll blow your ears out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're talking about over. This man is over, over.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever this Seth freaking Rollins character is really
I
going.
have no idea what it is. I've never seen a wrestling character like this in my life. It's just like the looniest man in the loony house has been given keys to the place. It's ridiculous, but he pulls it off and it works.
Yeah. For me, I thought it was a good, solid, hard hitting match all the way through. I have to admit, I was pulling for Drew to win. Yeah, I know there's a lot of talks with his contract being up, so I don't really know
Okay.
what the recent news is with all of that. But I was personally looking forward to seeing Drew win. But I guess just not the time. But now let's talk about the ending of that match.
That was
So,
cool.
or the after ending, I should say. So here comes Damian Priest, who seemed to remember who he was. He's still a Money in the Bank guy. I guess a few people forgot because I kind of even forgot a little bit about it myself.
Me too.
But here he comes, and you think, oh, he's going to cash it in. He's going through. He's got the referee. He's got it, and then all of a sudden, here comes out of nowhere some hooded person beating the crap out of him, and of course, then he pulls the thing back, and there's Sammy. Of course, there's another reason for the crowd to go nuts.
Yep.
And he says, "Well, we're going to have some fun. Let's steal the briefcase." Okay, this makes an interesting. It could certainly have made things interesting for the later part of the evening,
Oh man,
but they didn't go there.
I've got a lot to say about that.
Anyway, so we won't go there, but interesting thing what they're going to do now. How is that going to work out with Sammy stealing the briefcase? Is if he tries to turn it in, what happens? So who knows? But I think a very interesting part to the whole Judgment Day versus Sammy and all those guys. I'll be interested to see how that comes out. Okay. And by the yeah, so now we have the fatal 5-way match for Rhea Ripley's women's belt.
Yep.
She's the Raw women's champion. So we have Shayna Baszler. We have, of course, Rhea Ripley. We have Nia Jax. We have Raquel Rodriguez. And we have
Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark.
Zoe
Thank you.
Stark.
I should know that. I didn't write all the names down, and my old age is just blanked out on me. Zoe Starks. So all 5 of these women have a good reason to be getting in for the belt. This is not like, not to pick on people, but thank God it's not Chelsea Green or Natalia or
No,
some of these.
all of them could and deserve to be champions.
Yes,
Sort of, yeah.
yes, I think all of these. So this one I'm gonna kind of start off with. For me, this match was 10 minutes. I think Rhea Ripley's entrance lasted longer than the actual match itself, because
So.
the match was about 11 minutes long. This match to me was all over the place. It was like everybody wanted to get their spots in a very, very compressed amount of time. And I don't think the crowd got it. They weren't getting into it. I wasn't feeling it for them with this match.
No, and not to cut you off, but they the crowd couldn't keep up with it because they couldn't see all the camera angles. So they couldn't see all that was going on. So they missed out. You know, that's where we had the benefit of riding the couch was we could see all the spots and all the
Exactly.
stuff.
But I will say this, for the WWE to be able to have a fatal 5-way match, women's match in Saudi Arabia, that's saying something for Saudi Arabia, for them to have come as far as they have.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, they didn't even want even want a valet coming down to the ring.
No, it took 3 years to get Becky versus Charlotte over there. So, I mean,
well, and remember what the first match was? I think it was Lacey Evans and Natalia. I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that was actually the first women's match. But you know, of course, they all have to be completely covered up. You know, so I think as far as that goes, that's huge. You know, I think that's very huge. So kudos to Saudi Arabia to being, you know, accepting of that. Let me see. I kind of thought Rhea's makeup kind of looked like a cross between a little bit of a crow versus meets black metal kind of thing. It meets the Joker. I don't know.
It was the crow colors and Heath Ledger Joker garb.
Yeah. To me, I think the best spot in that match was when Shayna Baszler had three women in a submissions thing, you know, between the Indian Deathlocks on two of them, and then the Kabruta Clutch on Nia. You know, I thought that was a nice spot, but you know, and how nobody didn't tap out, I don't know, but yeah, that was probably, to me, that was probably the nice spot. A bit of a brutal ending. John, I don't know if you got anything you want to throw about this one.
Yeah, Shayna looked good. I mean, she had the best spots in the match, between that submission spot and the part when they were fighting on the ropes and they were about to do a superplex, and then Shayna went and took them all from the ground, took them all out. So that looked good. I actually liked the ending. I mean, it's that between that and Shayna's spots, it saved a match, because before that it was just a total cluster.
Well, I guess what I meant by brutal, it was just like, I thought it was just a good brutal, a good brutal, not a bad brutal, a good brutal.
Yeah, I liked the way it ended, but it was my least favorite match on the card. But it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was okay. It started out bad, but it you know, the last few minutes really saved it. It was good. They made Rhea look like a star, and when you, even without that long intro, she was obviously the star of the match. She's the best worker. She's got everything down with the psychology and the athleticism. She's got the great moves. But I mean, it was good. And Zoe Stark is really improving too. At first, I thought they threw her into the mix too soon, but you're seeing her improve from match to match. She's starting to get really good.
Yeah. Zoe's good. I do like her. The one thing I'll say about Rhea is, she might be the most manliest woman you'll ever see, but good Lord, when her selling looks are perfect.
Yeah, like Arn Anderson, you know?
Yeah. When she sells her look, the looks tells the story right there, you know, and that's how it should be. Ben, you said this was the first match you got in on.
Yeah. Anytime you have more than 3 competitors in a match, it quickly gets ugly and out of hand very fast. You have to work really hard to keep the crowd engaged in all of it, because there's so much chaos going on everywhere. Other than the Royal Rumble, I really don't like fatal 4-ways, fatal 5-ways, 6-person tag matches, because it's just so much chaos, and my brain doesn't work that fast. Again, I'm from Alabama. But this match had, I wrote down, it had pretty good spots in it. Everyone was safe. Even Nia Jax was very safe. Ever since she's came back, she's been working a lot better to get better in the ring. She's lost a lot of weight. She's moving better than she's ever moved. I think she's got a good career ahead of her if she stays on the trajectory she's on. Absolutely perfect timing on the finish of this match. when Rhea riptided Zoe onto the 2 count to break up the 2 count. If 1 second too much or too late and the match is over, or you ruin the finish of the match, but it went off perfectly. I feel that Raquel should have went over because they've been pushing her in that number 2 spot, fixing a breakthrough for over a year now. It's time to give her roses or move her out of the way and let somebody else be that top woman.
Right.
Only other thing that I really noticed in the match was, I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but Shayna 100% sandbagged the crap out of Rhea for her riptide. When Rhea went to do the riptide on Shayna Baszler, she dead weighted her so bad.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I don't know if that was just for good fun sport or what it was about, but it looked hilarious on TV to see the unstoppable Rhea Ripley struggling to pick up Shayna, who weighs 20 pounds less than her,
Yeah.
But all in all, I thought the match was decent. It was, for my first match of the night, it was a good open to the match, and get it out of the way, make it quick. A match with that many competitors in it can't be that long, or else the fans will lose interest like that. But I am ready to see some new blood hold the title belts in WWE. And I think Raquel deserves it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of new blood, I bet you didn't see this one coming. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa.
Match of the night.
I kind of would agree with you on that a little bit. I will say Cena looked a lot better in this match than he did against Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He certainly looked like he didn't look like he dialed this one in. He looked like he was, but is
21 years of John Cena on TV. I've never seen him sell as good as he did last night.
Yeah. Yeah. Solid. I thought it was a pretty solid match, and I don't usually say that about John Cena matches. John, what's your thoughts on this one?
Oh, this was very good. They made Solo look like a monster, but at the same time, they made Cena look strong. They were plugging the whole. He hasn't won a match on TV in 5 years. How many matches has he had on TV in 5 years? About 10?
Not a whole lot more.
Not many.
I mean, he's won his tag matches, but as far as singles matches goes, he lost to Bray, he lost to Austin, he lost to Roman Reigns. He usually only gets the WrestleMania match,
right?
But yeah, he's lost every one of them recently.
Okay, so here he started out hot, and then Solo took over, slowed the pace of it down. The crowd was all into John Cena. They're giving him the sympathy. They're getting behind the underdog, the 20-year veteran who was the top dog for years. Again, with Ben and John saying John's selling was tremendous. Solo kept going. The early part where he was trying to injure the thumb, I thought that was great psychology right there. Mm-hmm. The match went on. I mean, Solo was slowing it down, but there was that drama there. You're waiting for John to make the big comeback. He tried the STF. He could never really lock it in. That I liked, the fact that he couldn't lock it in because Solo was just so massive. What I really liked is he did it alone. No bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, that's how you make him a star. I went out there. I didn't need any interference. And I went and I beat this guy clean. And I frankly destroyed him with 14 Samoan spikes, like 10 while he's
10 or 11 or something like that. Yeah,
10 or 11 while he was sitting on the ground at the end. And I dug this match. I really liked the story of it. You're trying to make Solo a monster. He's only been in the business less than 2 years, I think. And how far he's gone. Yeah. I mean, he's a believable badass. That's what you want. I hope if he got his weight down just a little bit, he'd be perfect. Only thing I'm thinking is when I see him doing those Umaga splashes, is I'm like, I hope it just doesn't turn into Umaga. who got too big.
Yeah.
And we lost Umaga. But no, they both did a great job in this one. Great passing of a torch type of match. They let Cena in the ring alone at the end, and he's slowly getting up, and the crowd acknowledged it, and they gave him a huge ovation when he got up and he just did the wave and he walked out. No speech, no anything like that, no big high drama. Yeah, so they did exactly what they needed to do here and make a John still look strong like the old veteran champion, and Solo to look like they're one of their next stars.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very good.
I want to touch on something you mentioned. You said Solo did it alone.
Yeah.
That's something else I kept thinking, why did Dominic not come out and help Rhea? I was so thankful that in that chaos of a match that Rhea did it without a bloodline or a Judgment Day person coming down to interfere. So I did want to touch on that. Ben, how about you? You got any other thoughts on that match?
I thought the Cena versus Solo match was, if we were in 2009 and Umaga had this match with John Cena, then Umaga would have been one of the biggest big men wrestlers of all time. If he would have done that to John Cena, it would have been amazing. This was a match I felt that Umaga should have had, or a victory that Umaga should have had years and years ago. But Vince was refusing to let Cena lose to anybody at that time. It was a great video package before the match started. Everything about it was great. John teasing that he's going to be retiring soon and he hasn't won in 5 years. When his music hit, he got the first Road Warrior pop of the night. It wasn't piped in. At least it didn't sound like it was piped in. That sounded organic. He got a massive, massive Road Warrior pop. And I love the way it went over. I feel like the right call was made. The right guy won. You got John Cena. Why would John Cena be winning random matches in 2023? His time is over. He knows his time is over. He's acknowledged that his time is over. I was wanting to see John take off his skateboard shoes and leave him in the ring after this one. After a loss like that, when you're already teasing retiring, take off your shoes, leave him in the ring, and get out of there. You got nothing left to prove. That's the only critique I would have made, is if John decided, which is not for me to say when his last match should be, only he knows that, but if I was going to retire, that would have been it right there.
Right. Yeah. I don't really think I have much to add to all of that. I think that's a great point. Like I said, probably one of the best John Cena matches I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
So whatever John does, he certainly has put his time in, and if it's time to move on, then so be it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. So all right, so the next spot, Miz TV. Okay, so this is just anybody who needs to go up and go to the bathroom time. This would be now, or if you need to get a snack break or something like that. So they have a Saudi comedian actor coming out. I don't know his last name. I can't read my chicken scratch. And then you get a Grayson Waller thing. I'm just like, okay, enough of that. Ray versus Logan Ball. Ben, I'm gonna let you start with this one. See what your thoughts were with this one.
All right, I'm gonna preface this by saying I love to watch Logan Paul wrestle. He is insane, and when he wants to be, he could have match of the night every night. He could be the best on the roster every time he goes out. Even as little bit of experiences he's had wrestling on TV. The dude has got it's crazy, but it's insane. He's one of the best you'll ever see, hands down. He's like Eddie Guerrero and Bret Hart had a baby together, and it became that.
Okay.
I love the match. The only spot I saw that wasn't perfectly fluid was he botched and overcompensated his buckshot lariat. That was the only, which that might have even been by design to make it look like, he's not as fast as Rey Mysterio. We know WWE, you don't have to keep the wool over our eyes. We know Rey is like 50 years old. He can't move like he used to. He's not as fast as he used to be. You don't keep having to tell us he's still lightning quick. We can see he's not that fast anymore. He's still amazing, and I love Rey Mysterio, but anybody that's been wrestling for 30 years, they're not as fast as they used to be.
Right.
But I loved it, and I love that that Logan won in a dirty heel way, even though he didn't, the whole swerve at the end of it with the brass knuckles and all. It was great, and I'm excited to see, another heel champion, especially a mid-card heel champion, because if he's planning on being on TV for a good long stretch, this could really lead to something big.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question. Is he going to be a part-time champion, or is he going to be around?
Yeah.
I think that'll be a telling story. John, what about you? What kind of thoughts did you have with this one?
I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for the Paul brothers. Because they're marketing geniuses, but they work hard. They're good athletes. You could talk about Jake and Logan. They're both good at what they do. Jake, of course, in boxing, in the US, he's probably the third biggest name in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's face it, he's number 3 guy. I mean, he's doing pay-per-views. They're still selling well, mostly against MMA guys. But I mean, the thing about Logan's, he's a natural. He's
so
got
natural.
Great athleticism. He's a great heel. He did that bench press thing with Rey in the ring, and then he's being like a complete jerk. I mean, yeah, he was great here. There was one botched spot, and it looked like Logan saved Rey from getting dropped on his head.
Yeah.
Good for
Logan. Yeah,
good for both those guys there.
The tombstone spot. Yes.
The tombstone spot. The tombstone spot. Yeah, thanks. But I mean, now the thing where I like Rey is he like the most selfless wrestler in the history of the sport? He'll put anybody over, but he always puts on a great show.
Oh, yeah.
He's 50 years old, but now he's added more of the mat wrestling. No, he's been doing that, but there was more mat wrestling here than you usually have. Yeah, he's not as fast as he used to, but I mean, he picks his spots with the flying stuff, but he still does them well. He's still the 619. He still does that. It still looks just as good, just not as fast as it used to be. And looking at who had titles, will there be a title change? I'm thinking, well, if they flip a title, it'll probably be here.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the champions you want to keep strong at this point. I like the match a lot. The fans were all into Rey. Logan was great as a heel. Logan, I mean, if he wants to stick at this part-time or full-time, I mean, he's good at getting into the fans' emotions, getting them to hate him.
I mean, they already naturally hate him because the Paul brothers are just naturally hated in general, from what I can tell.
Right.
So he's got organic heat already. So yeah, you want to make him embrace that.
And I did like the brass knuckle spot. Oh, one of these cronies is coming out again, handing him the brass knuckles, and then all of a sudden the brass knuckles are right there for him to grab right when Ray's about to do the 619. And you're looking at it, you're like, oh, you know how this is going to end. But the way they set it up, I thought was pretty cool.
That had Dusty written all over it.
Oh, it did. It was well executed too. But I mean, again, Ray still looks strong. I mean, like I said, that's the thing about Ray. He'll give you like a 15, 20-minute match, that'll be very good like this. Or if you want to put somebody over like a monster, he'll do that too. I mean,
Yeah.
walking, living, breathing legend is Rey Mysterio.
You
He's
know,
Yeah.
fantastic.
what's so amazing is that the match before was all about John Cena retiring, but Rey Mysterio was wrestling when John Cena was in middle school.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, but let's talk about the ending of that match. Okay, so you get the brass knuckles introduced, and then they go flying, and then here comes Escobar.
Right.
He picks him up and he chases everybody, but then he conveniently puts it on the mat.
Conveniently.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Anyway, I just wanted to put that little devil's advocate out there.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's almost like he wants to be the leader of the LWO.
Maybe.
Maybe
Because if you
overthrow.
think if you're going to chase him off, you'd keep that brass knucks hanging, on you. But no, he puts it right down, right in a good spot for the 619 spot and all that other thing. But anyway, so my thought is, I've seen Logan Paul, and I saw him at SummerSlam when he took on the Miz. I was there. I was at Nashville when that match happened, and that was, to me, that was like one of the matches of the night.
Always is when he wrestles.
Watching Logan was so much fun to watch in person. I even against somebody like the Miz, it was, to me, that was just it was a very entertaining, very athletic match, and you could definitely see he had some promise. So yeah, I have respect for him and how well he's picked up this business. I respect the heck out of him on that botched tombstone spot, because you could definitely tell he saved Mysterio. I don't know if Logan just wasn't in the right position, or if Ray just didn't get that oomph off the ropes.
It looked like Logan was one step back too far.
So whatever it was, he was able to at least compensate and make something happen and make it work, and it didn't kill Ray at the same time. So kudos to Logan for that. So he certainly earned my respect for that. So yeah, interesting. We'll see how much of a champion he's going to be around on TV, or if it's just going to be like, another Brock Lesnar, another Roman Reigns kind of thing. And we just, because look at another thing that broke out, here you have an intercontinental champion in Walter or Gunther, and he can't leave the United States.
I was wondering about that.
He doesn't have a Saudi work visa.
He doesn't have a Saudi work visa, but there's some other kind of residential things if that's keeping him. He can only perform, I guess, in the United States from here out for a while. So I don't know what that's all about, but there's some kind of weird backstory with that.
He's trying to get like dual citizenship or something between Austria and the US, and it's, he can't travel very far. So
yeah. So there you go. So interesting with all the, Seth Seth and the tag champs are probably about the only thing that you'll see a lot of with championships, and the women's belts, obviously. Speaking of women's belts, Bianca versus Io Shirai. Crowd wasn't into this one either.
Snooze fest.
Yeah, and it's kind of too bad, because I think they were really trying to put on a good match, and they just didn't. If this was in Puerto Rico, or if this was in somewhere else, this match would have been a hot match to watch.
Absolutely.
But for whatever reason, the Saudi audience just was not getting into this.
The crowd gave a great pop to Bianca. I don't know what happened with their reception to that match. I thought the match was decent. I thought it was okay. I love watching Io. I love how she had on this whole like tribute to Lita outfit on. Looked really cool. I think the 100% right call was made on the winner of this. I hate it whenever the top guy or girl is injured and then comes back and her first match back wins the belt, because that just nullifies the champion's whole reign. Like, oh, you were just a transitional interim champion anyway. Doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact that Io won I thought that was the right idea. I love the seeds planted to the finally the implosion of Damage Control, the hands down worst faction in the history of pro wrestling. Even worse than the BWO, or worse than Right to Censor, any of it.
Right to Censor, I'll give you. BWO, I thought was pretty cool.
Damage Control is the evil faction that has never actually won anything or accomplished anything or changed the landscape of wrestling. Or it's just three girls who were brought in at the same time, in my opinion. And I love all three of them respectfully.
Yeah.
Bailey is one of the best heel performers of all time in the women's division, hands down. But she doesn't need two cronies with her. She doesn't.
Well, and it didn't help that one of them is so injury prone.
Absolutely. But having Kyrie come back to plant the seeds of the implosion of Damage Control was great, because I remember in the old days of the Black and Gold NXT, when the Sky Pirate tag team was the hottest tag team in pro wrestling world at the time, you didn't get better than the Sky Pirates. And to see those two back in the ring together, I popped hard for that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to. I heard Kyrie saying re-signed.
Yeah,
but I wasn't expecting her to see her at Saudi Arabia. Was it me, or did she lose? She looked like she dropped a weight. She didn't. Not that she was that big to begin with, but she looks more like Rio from AEW.
Okay.
She just had that real wafiness about her.
I want to say that was the bodysuit she was wearing.
Maybe.
Because she normally always wore the puffy pirate suit.
That's true.
But man, when she dropped that elbow, dude, I went crazy.
Yeah. How about you, John? What did you think about this one?
This was actually my favorite match of the night, even though the crowd wasn't into it. But I think the reason the crowd wasn't into it is you went off of that emotional solo Cena match,
card placement,
you get into another emotional match with Logan and Ray. So they had to come down. And there was a lot of mat wrestling, which was great in the psychology, because Bianca's selling the knee, Io's doing the leg locks, Io's doing the drop kicks to the knee.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a very good old school match.
It was
for a Bianca match. Bianca, it's almost always about her athleticism. So she's doing the athleticism. She's landing on after those somersaults, and she's like, "Oh, my knee!" I like that. I love the spot with the trio. Whoa. And then the drop kick to the knee right after. I was like, "Oh, that is good stuff."
That was a good spot. Yes.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this match. Now they're doing the outside interference thing again. Io accidentally belts Bailey. I'm like, oh, okay. And I know they've been building that. But then the Kairi Sane thing, I was like, oh, okay. So it ended the match good because, okay, the interference keeps Bianca strong. You got to keep the belt on Io, because Io's over like Rover, especially here in the States.
Huge.
And she should be. I mean, to me, she gives like the best somersault outside of the Great Muta.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the hang time. Now, Lita gave a great one too, but with Io, it's poetry in motion. Every time she lands that. I mean, it looks so awesome. Every time she goes to the ropes, I'm like, oh, here we go. And it's just going to be fun. But I thought it was a very good wrestling match, and Bianca did her stuff. She did her selling. She's getting better and better at that. And now you got Io and Kairi back, and more levels got. Io and Baylor are going to have a great feud eventually.
Yeah.
They've been building it the way they used to. They used to build these feuds back in the 80s and 90s over months and months. And they're doing that really well with this. I really enjoyed the match. Okay, the fans were on their they were sitting on their fists most of the time. But again, I think a lot of it had to do with the momentum of the previous matches. But I enjoyed this match.
Yeah.
I I look forward to Bailey and Io opening WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Oh yeah. No, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
I
That's
would.
what I'm
I
gonna
would be
call
good.
that right now. That's the opening match of WrestleMania.
They're gonna love Io to death. They're gonna boo the shit out of Bailey, but they're gonna boo her out of love.
The only place
great what she does.
The only place that Bailey is immortally over in is the UK, because they got to sing the song to her. Would you be my girl? You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen those old NXT shows from the UK, they cheer for Bailey the entire match. They never stop. It's hey Bailey, I want to know, would you be my girl? I mean, it's crazy the whole match.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, any for me, I always liked Io Shirai. I always liked Kairi Sane. I'm also a big Asuka fan.
Me too.
Get all them together. Get that other one that was in NXT that they were trying to make out the crazy warrior thing. What's her name?
Oh gosh, the one that's Athena in
I think
AEW
so.
now. Yeah.
Oh no
Ember
no no no
Moon.
no 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 no. She's another Oriental. She and this other guy came out, and there was like some like old looking warrior, Chinese warrior along with them. I can't remember her name,
Oh,
but
I have no idea.
I can't remember who she. Anyway, bring her back in. A Sarah or Sarah. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Anyway, hey, those are my favorite women wrestlers right there. I would much rather watch them over Becky, over Charlotte, over Bailey, even over Bianca. I just especially the four horsewomen. I was so bored of them years ago.
Yeah.
And so, there's something about the Japanese wrestlers that I've always really liked.
Yeah.
Even in AEW, even though they were so small and they were it was made too unbelievable how they could win their matches, especially like Rio against Nyla Rose, for example. How is a 95-pound girl going to take on a behemoth like Nyla Rose? No, but they did, and she wins. But I still like the Japanese wrestlers the best.
Yeah,
all the women's wrestlers. There's just something very special about watching them.
Yeah, look it up on Peacock. It was Shayna Baszler's match before her call up. Mm-hmm. She was the NXT Women's Champion, and she dropped the belt to Kairi Sane. I think it was at a takeover event. It was insane. Such a good, hardcore, hard-hitting match.
I seem to remember that. Yeah, that
was crazy. It was insane.
All right, Ben, you need to get your shirt out now, because let's move on to the next match here with Mr.
Adrenaline in my soul, something, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is walking to the ring. Whoa!
Yeah,
there you go.
That rocked.
There you go.
That's close enough.
We don't even need to talk about the match now. We're just gonna move on to the no. Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. I think my notes that I wrote down from here is the crowd woke up from its nap.
Yeah.
Not much. I don't think there's a whole lot to really say here. John, go ahead and take it away.
I agree. Cody's over like Rover. He did a great job of selling. Damian, I mean, he's not at that level there, but he's working towards it. I think he's going to be really good. Damian got the crossroads in on Cody. I thought that was nice. And then eventually, and choke slam, that looked really good. Cody sold that. I mean, yeah, Cody's got that facial. Cody knows how to tell a story, just like his dad did, just like his older brother Dustin too.
Mm-hmm.
I love he's got that somersault off the clothesline down pat too. I mean, just like Dustin did really well, and the Rockers used to do really well too. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was decent. It came off more like a main event on Raw, but you had the interference in there. You had Finn Balor in there, and then you had
JD and
JD, Dominic, and then Mr. Super Kick Machine Jay came out and started taking them all out. So, it was kind of predictable, but I did like the triple crossroads at the end. I mean, he went all Robert Johnson on him. So, and that was it was good. I mean, we're not great, but it gave the fans what they wanted. Damien did a good job, and Cody's over strong, and they love him to death. Chris out the wazoo.
There you go. All right, Ben, any thoughts?
I don't want to say anything negative about my man Cody, but okay, you can triple Rhodes Brock, you would triple Rhodes Undertaker, you would triple Rhodes Roman, you would triple Rhodes Cena probably, but if you have to triple Rhodes Damian Priest, then that just sort of, in my opinion, kills the effectiveness of the Crossroads as a finishing maneuver.
Okay.
If you have to give it out to everybody, if everybody has to take 3 of them, then the one is not even dangerous anymore. That's just my opinion. Save it for a big point when it would really matter the most. And that's my only critique on Cody's performance. The rest of the match, Finn Balor, why was Finn Balor even at the point when Finn Balor came out, if I'm not mistaken, Damien was in control of the match. Why would Finn Balor come out to interfere in the match when Damien was in control of the match in the first place? Makes no sense. We didn't need all of these people. They were telling a great match. They were having a good, solid TV match, as John the Music Nut put it. It was a solid 85 overall rating TV quality match. It didn't need to have 4 people interfere in the match, other than to get Dom his massive heat pop, which he got. That was now that I'm saying it out loud, it totally makes sense. Bring them all out in order to bring Dominic out last to get the Dominic heat pop, which has there even been, DiBiase never got a heat pop like that. Vince McMahon never got a heat pop. Has there ever been a heel in wrestling history that can garner the heat that Dominic has gotten?
I think the last heel that comes to my mind, or one of them that comes to my mind, was when Hogan turned heel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, him too.
Bash at the Beach. Yeah.
That was unbelievable, the amount of heat he was getting for that. Gosh, I mean, think back to Piper. Back in the days of way back, Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
I mean, when he took on Bruno.
The first lineup of the Horsemen had to fight their way back to the locker room. Yeah. So we're looking at 40 years it's been since we've had a heat magnet like Dominic, who's really done nothing other than say how much he hates his daddy. That's really all he's done.
Right. Well, John, what were you said you had 2 that
I
you were.
put up 2. Well, the first guy I thought of was Tully Blanchard.
There you go.
Because the fans loved the Horseman. Like, the hardcore fans loved the Horseman. As soon as they tagged Tully and they booed his shit. Tully knew how to get heat like nobody's business. Another one, not as strong as Hogan and the NWO, X-Pac.
Yeah.
They hated X-Pac because he was especially when he was doing that Bronco Buster to people. They loved Kevin and Scott because they were so cool, but they take X-Pac, who can outwork both of them put together, and he'd go out and get the shit kicked out of him, but he was such an asshole in that role that people hated him. But not like Dominic.
No.
Not like Dominic.
Dominic takes it to another level.
Well, and then you get the other side of the heat magnet, where it's the magnet kind of refracts and goes the other direction, where you get guys like the Sheik and Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody, where the audience is they're not exactly booing him, but they're just like running as far away from him as they can, because you just never knew what was gonna, what those three were going to be capable of doing.
That's right.
So yeah, I have to mention Brody there, but anyway, yeah, nothing special about the match. Predictable ending with all the sooner or later I'm like, you guys have got to come up with something better than all this constant outside interference. I mean, it's just
it's like Bischoff and Russo are writing the script right now in certain scenarios.
Right.
And Jim Cornette is spitting in his.
Listen, baby, we got to keep it to where the storyline is going to keep going, but you're going to look strong, baby, and then you're going to look strong, baby. We can't have anybody. We don't want to put anybody down right now. We're not in the burying business, baby. We're going to send them to WrestleMania, headline WrestleMania, bull rope match, ring-a-ding-a-ding. We're going to put Cody Rhodes, baby. We're going to put the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus the executioner Archer of Infamy, Damian Priest, baby. They're going to headline WrestleMania together in a bull rope match. They're going to ring-a-ding-a-ding each other, baby.
And if we don't stick to the plan, then it's hard times. But hard times.
But the thing is, we got to get them there. We got to keep them both over without anybody burying anybody else, baby. That's what it's going to take. So we're just going to have to do the run-ins just till March, baby. That's all. We just got 5 more months, baby. We got 5 more months. We got 20 weeks away. We're going to end it all right there. We're going to blow it off in a big payday for everybody, baby.
That's awesome.
And there you have it, folks. It's the American dream. Dusty Rhodes there for you. Come back to life on the music corner on the 5 count. Oh, all right. Well, let's talk. Speaking of burying, so now we get to the main event. All right, maybe not a burial here, but
we're gonna ring the funeral bells of LA Knight, baby.
LA Knight versus Roman Reigns, who's probably only wrestled for the 5th time this year, I guess, or something like that. I don't know. Yes. I don't keep up with it, but I mean, let's face it. Raise your hand if you truly thought LA Knight was going to win this. Yeah, I didn't think so either. But I'll tell you what, his rise has just been unbelievable.
Absolutely. Organic.
Very organic, which is unusual for WWE, it seems like, anymore. But something clicked with the fans and LA Knight, whether it was that, or the let me talk to you. Something clicked with LA Knight and the fans.
He's a catchphrase talking machine, but he's also the best worker on the show when you really let him go. Mm-hmm. I mean, and hardcore fans, smart fans would know, he's been a TNA champion. He's been an NWA champion. Mm-hmm. He's been on top everywhere he's gone as Eli Drake. He ran the show. Eli Drake. Yeah. I mean, same character, just a new name. And I love it. And I think he finally got over in the biggest company in the world. He crawled on top of everybody to get there, and he did it. I think he did great in his very first pay-per-view main event match. He totally is going to deserve more later, and he's going to be a world champion. Once Roman Reigns steps down and is out of the picture, he's going to be one of the guys in the next 5 years that carry the company over. But like you were saying, if you actually go back and watch Roman's other matches from this year, the SummerSlam, the WrestleMania, the one with Sami Zayn in Montreal, it's shot for shot, scene for scene, note for note, the exact same match he's had. Like Ric Flair used to say him and Steamboat had the same match every night for a year straight. Roman has the same exact match with the same exact spots in the same exact place every time, because that's what he can do. That's what he's comfortable doing. And it makes him look like this enormous Thanos-like creature that nobody can beat, so that when somebody does beat him, it's going to be that much bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, that really is the case. I mean, it's like, it's like I would get tired of watching Ric Flair matches because I felt like I was watching the same Ric Flair match time after time after time after time after time.
Think about those 8 years that John Cena was on top of the world.
And same thing. I was actually never a big Cena fan.
Yeah,
So
same match.
so same style match. And with Roman, you also got bloodline interference constantly.
Mm-hmm.
John, what else have you got? Say something positive about this thing. Because I feel like I'm going off the rails a little bit here.
Well, he's great at using the psychology. His matches, when he's in control, the match is really slow. The other guy's struggling on the ground. He's looking at the crowd. He's getting the heat, getting the guy in a headlock, looking at the camera, saying he's got nothing. It's not his time, and all that stuff. That's the thing. He's good at getting the heat. Again, master psychology. His matches are too slow early on. I think he picked up a lot of that from Triple H, which is why I wasn't a big fan of Triple H. Triple H his matches were as good as his opponent.
Mm-hmm.
You put him in with Chris Benoit, you put him in with Cactus Jack, you put him in with Rock or Austin, the match is gonna be great. And some of the others you're like, whatever. But this was, that slow burn first 10 minutes. There wasn't much of anything. And then it built. LA was getting his stuff in. You thought he had a shot. And then he went to the front face lock, and Roman did. That I liked, because I'm like, okay, you got to wear him down more. Okay, more great use of psychology. I like that. Now, and then, okay, here comes the inevitable interference. I went, well, before that, you had the spear. I'm sorry, you had the Superman punch followed by the spear. And then they had the outside interference, and then LA takes the spear through the dreaded padded guardrail.
Or as What Culture Wrestling, as Simon Miller calls them, barricade.
Barricade. And you're like, ooh, that looks so potent.
It was funny in this scenario because that barricade piece, if you watched it, LA was holding it up because it had already about half broke off.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I was watching it with my brother, and I said, here comes the barricade spot, because he was like in place waiting. I said, oh, here it comes. And sure enough, there it was. But yeah, I'll let you continue.
Thank you. And then put him back in the ring, spear, 1, 2, 3. LA did it. LA did a great job. I mean, it's a Raw main event. It was okay. The crowd's really into it. I mean, the crowd was popping. I mean, they really love LA Knight, just like we do here in the States. And Roman does a good job as a heel. He gets into the people's emotions a lot. He's slowing the match down, making like his opponent doesn't have a chance. LA's going to be the champ eventually. I think what's going to happen is they keep saying how long Roman's had the belt. He's got to at least pass Hogan.
I think so.
Now he's got to pass Hogan. I think he might have another year for that. So, but I think LA Knight will probably be the guy, because he's a great worker. He's great at selling too. Let's not take that away from him. He's the total package in the ring. But maybe it's just not. You're not going to put the belt on him at his first main event on a pay-per-view. You got to let's see if the fans continue to love him. I think they will. He has a great style. He's got the catchphrases, as y'all mentioned, and I mean, he's just over with the fans. He'll have his time.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's the number one dog. So there you go.
There you go. All right. Last parting thoughts on here. Like how would we? I think how would we grade it?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B+. I mean, it was a solid house show /
a B+ player
TV show. I mean, nothing spectacular. You wouldn't expect, if Triple H is going to allow title changes, it's going to be on a show that he knows everybody is watching, and statistically, the crown jewels, the greatest Royal Rumbles, the Super Showdowns have the lowest ratings, lowest viewership of any of the PLEs that he has throughout the year. So he's not going to change. It's not going to change much. He's going to give a little something for the local crowd, but he's not going to dethrone Seth, Rhea, or anybody like that at a premium live event that airs noon o'clock Central, you know. But overall, it was great, entertaining, yeah, safe, yeah, a good call to make, yeah, right people went over, yeah, checks all the boxes. I would say B plus.
Okay, John.
B, for all the reasons Ben said.
Yeah,
just not, you know, all the matches, except for the fatal 5-way for the women, were solid. Nothing, no match of the years here, or anything like that. Yeah, it was good. It was entertaining. The crowd really loved it. They were really pumping Saudi Arabia throughout the show too, showing spots when they were outside the ring and all that. So you know that, I mean, they've already done pay-per-views here, so you know they're going to be back. Yeah, it was a B. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd give this probably a solid B myself. You know, so we'll keep it pretty simple here. But yeah, nothing. Just like all you guys said, nothing overly spectacular. I'm certainly not expecting this to have been a WrestleMania 40 or anything like that quality, but it was still a decent card. It was worthwhile. So, all right, wrestling fans, so now it's your turn. Hit us up in the comments what you guys thought of that show, what you guys think of the state of WWE right now. Maybe you don't even like WWE. Maybe you're an AEW guy or a soon to be reformatted TNA instead of Impact. So that's coming back. Maybe you're more of a Game Changer wrestling kind of guy. I don't know. Let us know what you think in the comments. You know, we're gonna come back and do some kind of a wrestling thing here, hopefully soon. But as far as for John and myself, look for a Armored Saint album ranking to come out this week, because this is going to drop pretty quick. I'm going to get this out rather fast. Ben and I, you've seen us on the North and South and Rock and Metal Connection, which we got to get the band back together for soon. So hopefully we'll get some content going there. Ben, I think you were holding your finger up like you had something you wanted to throw out there.
I was just gonna say that one good thing about this Crown Jewel was that it kept all the storylines going until Survivor Series, War Games, baby, live in the steel cage. 2 steel cages, 2 rings, 2 men start off, 8 men on each team continue. Blood and guts, baby. Gory blood everywhere. People's heads ringing, baby. You can hear them hollering from on top of the cage to go down to the cage. One team walks out victorious. War Games, live and in living color, baby.
No, wait, what are they? Hold on. What's the name of this next pay-per-view?
Survivor Series, War Games, baby.
I was thinking more like Steven Regal. War Games. You know that I can't do the Blackpool accent like he can, but he's not allowed to say that. Anyway,
there's not even a Texas accent that sounds like Dusty's accent, but
no.
War Games.
War Games, baby. Daddy. All right. So there you go. There's your Crown Jewel review. Maybe we'll do this for Survivor Series. That wouldn't be
War Games, baby.
War Games, baby. for Ben Carson, for John the Music Nut, Johnny Klauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad. Y'all have fun. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll catch you soon. War Games, Daddy. War Games.
Teams of 5 strive to survive.